Thoughts at the Spot, Season 2, Episode 2. You know who it is, your boy Silos and your boy over there.
See, Joe. Yeah, we're back. It's been like a few months has gone by. But we're recording again. It's good to start it again. And
I don't think it's a few months, though.
huh?
I don't think it's been a few months. I feel like it was just like maybe 3 weeks.
Yeah.
3 weeks,
But
four
anywho,
weeks. But
we're back. We're gonna just start by saying this is the last episode. I'm just kidding. I feel like we've already done that before, and they're all happy, and then they like say, "Man, these fuckers keep putting all shit on there." But no, Silos, what's new? What's happening since that time? Anything you wanna share with everybody besides you wearing that saffron hat during this episode?
no, I mean, not. Nah, I mean, nothing really has changed, you know. I just had my kids' birthdays. Um, Overall, everything's been great.
I feel like it's been a lot of birthdays. Been
Yeah,
busy.
this is July, my wife's birthday too, so July is just full of birthdays.
Yeah.
Um, you got spoiled. Then asked me what I got for my birthday,
When's your birthday? Oh, what you get for your birthday?
April.
Oh, yeah. So you didn't get anything?
Nah,
You had a party, didn't you? You
nah,
didn't even get a party?
nope,
What you get for Father's Day?
none, none. To this
Can
day,
you tell
none.
them?
To this day, nothing.
Nothing. What'd you get her? What'd you get your wife for her birthday?
Went to Disneyland.
Dang, you went out like that and
Took her
didn't
to
you
Disneyland.
get?
So I mean, it kind of like I was able to take my son and her, so it's kind of like a gift for both. Um, but she's been dying to go to Disneyland, so we were to go. So
But I'm sure you got. I'm sure you got like a shirt, a pair of socks, a hug, at least for your birthday.
no, no comment.
No
No,
comment.
no, I did, I
It-
did. You get the usual, happy birthday, hug,
yeah,
kiss. But as a dad, you want to give them.
yeah. It's
We
all.
learn to take the L's.
Yeah. And
You
else
just
like
learn to take the L's,
that.
just like, just like,
um, it's
just like the.
yeah, it's funny because I remember last time I talked about it that I didn't get anything for Father's Day. I guess I did. It was some dress shirts, but it was like I thought it was
So
just for
you
fun.
lied, bro.
I know it's to if it get some sympathy or whatever, but I didn't know. I was like,
You
at least tell
lied
me.
to the camera.
I was like, at least tell me next time that it was for my Father's Day. I was out here bashing and stuff.
Yeah, dude,
Um,
we all felt bad, but you actually got some.
I got some shirt. I think it was some dress shirts, some pants. So it was good. It was she spent a good close to 200. So I take back everything bad I said about her.
I take quick bet. He's
I
four. She's actually watching them right now.
know. It's like telling me
You
like to say
better,
this,
you better say
but
this.
yeah, dude. It's So, anyways, but I feel like going back, it's with those birthdays is I personally don't like birthdays, and I don't know if
I
we
think
talked
we, I
about
think
this before.
we talked about this before.
And so
But
it's just like just come over and eat and that's it. um
but
but
yeah, but yeah. I mean, especially when you grow older, the birthdays is no, is no longer, um, especially for us. You know, there's no need to celebrate, right?
yeah,
I think as long as you're at home with your family, then that's how you want to celebrate your birthday.
yeah, but are you planning to do something for the big 3-0? Isn't that coming up in like what,
Like in 10 years, bro.
in like next year or something?
Nah, I still got 2 years.
But so are you planning to do something, like if your wife's gonna plan on doing something, we're just gonna try to
I
keep it
mean,
low
I
key?
doubt that she'll plan some.
Okay,
Just kidding.
but
Just kidding.
so like for
Just doing
example,
shit.
my wife likes to plan birthday parties, right? She does my birthday party every year. I told her not to. Is that the same way around? Like you would celebrate your wife's birthday, but
I
she
think it's
doesn't do it
easier
all the
for
way
me to
around.
celebrate. Yeah, I think it's easier for me to celebrate her birthday than for her to celebrate my
Why
birthday.
though?
I don't know. I think maybe because she doesn't seem like she's likes the stress of that whole planning
Yeah,
and everything is setting up, so she just doesn't want to like go through that. But for me, I'm like I'm willing to go through that stress, um, to like plan. And I'm not saying I like throw this major super party for every year, but but getting her like the simple stuff that she likes.
Yeah.
You know, this year, I mean, I really didn't do anything special for her. It was more her family made her what she likes. But
Hmm.
I was still able to get her a cake,
Yeah.
and her
It was.
family came over, and
Yeah.
we got pizza and wings, something that she likes. So
Yeah. I kind of do some. But I mean,
so
even so, I mean, Disneyland and all that too.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
Disneyland. I mean, it's considered a trip for all of us, right?
yeah.
But I think it's just I like to say that it's mostly like for their birthdays, just because it's the month of July, right? So it just makes sense to
My
say.
thing is though, the whole thing about the stress that comes with birthday parties is, I mean, one, I don't stress out, right? Like when we celebrate parties, like for example, my kids, it's my mother-in-law who helps out. She's the one that takes care of them, mostly everything. So the only thing I have to worry about is just like go grabbing ice at the last minute, going to the store at the last minute because something doesn't, it's not there. Um, so I just, yeah, that's kind of my thing that I dislike so much is like, just tell me what we need and let me get it and have
Yeah,
it instead of like at the last minute when everyone's there. And then I get bashed on, for sitting and drinking because I shouldn't be
yeah,
doing that.
yeah. You shouldn't be doing that, bro.
But what?
You're supposed to be up telling everybody's needs. Like,
Yeah.
hey, like, what do you need? What can I bring you? Let me clear that plate for you. Come
Oh
on,
yeah, like
bro.
that too.
Like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Nah, but yeah, like I personally didn't grow up with like parties like how we throw them. Like, and even like before I had kids, I always thought like, well, I don't want to spend so much, energy and money on parties, just because I feel like, yeah, we throw these parties for the kids, but the kids don't really enjoy them.
just usually like the adults and stuff.
Yeah, because and we're not even spending time, like I did for my daughter. I did all the cooking and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I didn't even spend time with her for her birthday.
yeah,
All that effort. It was nice to see other people there for her and stuff, but like she doesn't see the difference between like like if it's just me and my wife
hmm,
and we're going out to a dinner per se.
yeah.
Like I think she'll love that either way. But and then putting all the stress and effort into a party, when at the end of the day is for me to spend time with my daughter and not these other the guests,
Yeah,
because even the guests don't really like spend really that much time with her either.
yeah. I think that's my thing with the parties. I mean, it's all different, right? But I feel like with parties, it's you doing it for the people that come, right?
Exactly, you're doing it for the people that come in.
And sometimes, and the thing about it, like, no matter how you have a plan, people are always going to complain, right?
Criticize, bro. That's his
Criticize.
Hispanic culture, man. You just know you're gonna get criticized,
Yeah,
no matter what. Even if you do everything right, you're gonna get criticized because you did this, because you did that.
yeah,
And instead of coming into a party and enjoying like, oh, this was nice, the food was great, this was great, but nah, bro, it's just simple like, hey, I didn't like the food,
yeah,
or hey, you didn't have enough food, or
yeah.
hey, you
And
didn't get drinks, or why is this over here? Like, hey, move this, and all that type of stuff. So it's just like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the parties.
yeah, I come to realize, especially, and it leads into like the whole, for me personally, like quinceañeras and stuff like that, right? It's like
But
people.
quinceañeras, I think, is overdone though. Don't you think? I
Well,
feel, I
I
feel
hope
like,
so.
I feel like that. I don't know. Like as Hispanics, we have these thoughts and ideas that um, we want to spend all this money on these parties, especially on quinceañeras. People are ready to drop that 15,000, 20,000.
Yeah,
But for what? Nowadays, like, wouldn't you want to like put that 15, 20K, 30K that people even
yeah,
spend for like your daughter's future,
yeah,
or shit, even a car?
yeah.
How nice would it be for like, yeah, she's turning 15, but right when she's able to drive, she already has
A car that's paid
a
off.
paid off
Yeah,
car,
it's not like fucking making
that you were
payments
gonna
and
that you were gonna spend anyways. Uh,
yeah,
and I feel like that trend is starting to be. Because I haven't been invited to a quinceañera in a long time,
true.
So
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
because we're old, bro.
Maybe it's because we don't have, you
Well,
know, people that are
and the family are
nice.
close that are like within
But
that
like
age.
even then, like before, oh maybe yeah, because I was younger and good looking back then.
And they're asking you for chambelán
They
and
were
shit.
asking me to be in all these parties, and,
And
and I would always hear about quinceañeras, but not
and
not
then
anymore.
and then all of a sudden
But
it just stops you like, what the fuck
yeah,
happened? Like
but yeah, I think eventually,
Yeah.
like it's just like we need to like step back on the parties,
Yeah.
get together. That's cool. But we're Hispanic, dude. We like to throw
Yeah.
parties for anything. Baptism, you freaking your first word.
Yeah.
We
Well,
anytime there's a party and there's always alcohol involved.
well, usually I heard it's like the first year, the third, and the fifth, right? It's like
Well, that's
some
when
type
they
of
do the
tradition.
major parties, dude.
Yeah.
So the first, the third, and whatever other days. But
Yeah.
like they said, it's only mostly for the girls.
Yeah.
The boys
That, and dude, maybe that's how it is. You're programmed to just like not,
just to
you
like always,
always not expect anything. No
well,
birthday party and shit.
as you're a
Damn,
boy,
dude, it's like
as
fucking building something here.
it's like since
You're
birth.
like, it's just him.
Yeah,
So what
he
is
doesn't
this?
eat that.
I was, oh, I want to put, but if
But
it's
you
a
know
daughter,
what?
he's like, you want to put them in a dress and all that other shit.
Yeah, but it's like the more like I as much as I talk shit about being a man and not being treated some sort of way by our culture, I kind of do the same thing though. Like with my son, I'm like, like I could like yell at him, be like, "Hey, behave,
Yeah.
do this." But when it comes to my daughter, I'm just like, "She's okay. Don't tell her anything. She's
Yeah.
doing okay. She's fine."
Yeah, which is
Like,
funny you say that because
yeah,
that's how I am. My son's only 3, 4 months, but I'm like, dude, like, why are you crying, bro? Like,
yeah,
man up,
yeah.
And
But
then
when
with my
you're
daughter,
it's just like, "No, it's okay.
just
Don't
let
cry."
out your feelings,
Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Damn.
even I do it. So it's like as much as we'll complain about it, but it's reality of it.
Yeah. No, I think also too, and I'm gonna say this too, because so it's gonna be saved somewhere. It's probably gonna bite me in the ass. But the one thing like I can't deal with is just like, and I'm not gonna say people, I'm not talking shit or whatever. I'm just speaking my truth. But is those when they do parties like quinceañera, but then they ask padrinos,
Or
like
but then,
godparents who fucking pay for the whole party. It's like if you can't do it, then don't fucking throw it.
but that's just
And even whatever tradition it is, but at least like for example, right? Like keep it at like okay, shoes, the crown, and the doll, right? And maybe the dress, but not go too crazy on the dress. But that's it. Everything else, like the fucking drinks, all this other shit, there's or the place. This is my personal opinion. I don't know how you feel, but if it's like a big event play center, I think it's just the parents. Don't fucking get padrinos and fucking to be doing that
so I
shit.
mean, not to ask you then for real.
It's like Sophia. Oh, it's like
So
Nancy. you like
not
you like scratching my name. You
yeah,
scratching
like
on
hey,
my
let me give me a sec.
CMAs.
Let me get my let me get my notebook out really quick.
Oh.
Not,
But you know
but
what I'm saying, and the reason I'm saying this because I'm pretty sure it's gonna bite me in the ass when it comes to my daughter, right? Because my daughter's gonna turn 15 before your daughter, and it's gonna be like where it's not me who is gonna decide to have the kids; it's gonna be the grandparents, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, hey, we need fucking padrinos for here, there, and there."
yeah, it's okay, bro. Let's just play them this podcast. We'll be like, hey, listen to this.
This is what he said. So fuck that guy.
We're not gonna do the quinceañera. No, but I feel what you're saying because I'm not really like I don't really mind if people ask for help or for a party. What bugs me the most is that when they ask you and they have no sort of like relationship with you,
Mm.
you know, like and it could be distant family or family that you're not really close with, but it's just like if someone's just reaching out to you to say, hey, I need to give you my padrino, but you don't really have a
You're like, I don't even fucking know you.
like
Like,
yeah, like
yeah,
you don't have some sort of like connection with me, like you don't really call me
yeah,
like on my birthday, you don't like check up on me,
yeah.
you don't really do that. I mean, I know we're family, but you're just really just asking me because you're wanting help
Yeah.
for the party,
Did,
that's kind of what like sucks. And but to your point, and it's like, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna have this party, I mean, you should have enough money to
yeah.
pay for that party. If not, limit yourself. And pretty sure, I mean, I'm a father of a girl, and I want to, and hopefully it doesn't bite me in the ass because this will be recorded. But I want to set the example on my daughter that she doesn't need that. I don't want my daughter asking me like, hey dad, I want to spend $60,000, $50,000, any amount on a quinceañera. Like I think we could just
Yeah.
simply avoid that.
Yeah, I think also. Do you think going back real quick? I, do you feel like is you get those random people asking you because they see, oh man, look, Silos Carlos has a nice beautiful home, he has a car and all this. Do you think that's why they ask, like kind of like they're trying to figure out who they feel is mostly loaded with money, and they try to
Well, yeah, dude, we're Hispanic, bro.
Yeah.
We like I say we always be judging our own kind. So if it's even like hey, if they have this, they have that. Like yeah, let's ask them like for the like because I'm not really too familiar with it, but I'm assuming like in some um, parts of being a padrino, like some things are more expensive than others. So like they know what to ask, you know. Like for example, we're gonna ask Javi and Laura to be
The
padrinos
security and
for
shit.
this because we know they could probably pay for
Yeah.
that, you know. They're not just simply asking like, "Hey, what can you help us with?" You know,
Yeah.
and you could be like, "Oh, well, I could help you with this." You know, no, that's more like, "Hey, I want $1,000 dress. Who can I ask for to
Yeah.
be padrinos
And
for
then
that?"
yeah. Yeah, that's what I agree. I seen that shit and it's just like it's like damn like fuck. You don't know. Maybe yeah, you do have this lifestyle, but
But
doesn't
I'm
mean like
fucking stressing out, man.
he's like, yeah, you might have two TVs in this office, but doesn't mean you can afford another third one, you
Yeah, I
know? It's like
mean, yeah, dude.
they'll see, man, this fucking dude has like all these cameras and shit. He must be, having
Yeah,
money. But I'm like, I fucking stole it. No, I'm just
yeah.
kidding. But no, and then going back, I feel like also it's just like besides them judging you, like having money, not having money, whatever. I feel like sometimes some families they get themselves in debt. Then they're like, oh shit, like I couldn't do it, but I did a fucking party. Now I got to pay for it. And then they get put back on some of the payments, like for the home or whatever it is. And exactly, I feel like it's pushed on, right? My daughter didn't know what a quinceañera was before. Just don't look at her. Just don't look at her. Just kidding. No, but it wasn't until her grandparents were like, hey, it wasn't until the grandparents were like, "Oh, hey, like, do you want a quince? What is that? Oh, it's like a party for when you're like 15 and you get a beautiful dress. You get, like all this beautiful event and stuff like
But
that."
isn't but going back like talking about quinceañera, isn't quinceañera like and people that hear this or or if you know, isn't it supposed to be like a party where you're supposed to get like like kind of like introduced like for marriage, like isn't
Mm.
it to be like be presented so like you're ready to ready off to be married
I guess back then, I don't know what the whole tradition means. You look that up,
and like even like it comes to the point where like I've heard that you don't even the quinceañera like the tradition of the quinceañera. I mean, now obviously it's like a big party and everything, but I think that the main purpose was like to get, like I said, percentage.
hmm
Like you're ready for marriage, but you're not even supposed to like buy food for people. You're not even supposed to like have all this
like how
stuff.
it is now.
Yeah, like it's just a simple ceremony, and you know, but it's not like meant to have food and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I'm pretty sure down the line something that was mostly like, oh hey, like let's see how big of a party we can do. It's like any other like weddings, it's any other way of showcasing how much money you have and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's how I feel about that.
so it's like so if you're listening to this and you're Hispanic and you're thinking about a quinceañera,
Don't do
just
it.
just don't. Don't
Yeah,
put the money away, invest it, put it somewhere
put it in big. Put it in Dogecoin.
in Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, like all these other great stocks out there.
All of a sudden, they're like, "What the?"
So yeah, so I think it's just it's always good to invest,
Yeah,
but not on parties.
yeah. I think it's anywhere like okay, you had a wedding, right? I know I didn't have a
I
wedding,
didn't have a
but
wedding.
you did
Just
have a
kidding.
wedding. I was like,
I
what the
didn't.
fuck? So whose fucking wedding did I go to?
Yeah.
But whatever you spend on that, wouldn't you have rather? I mean, now, right? Like,
Well, I mean, now you see, and less people wanting to get married for that reason, right?
yeah,
I feel like there's less and less people that. I mean, people still want to get married, but I think they're okay with a small thing. You don't want to spend all this money on a wedding.
yeah. Because like, I mean, if you realistically, right? Let's say people are spending between 20 to 50,000 on a party, on a wedding. Wouldn't they rather have that for a down payment on a home?
Exactly.
You
And
know?
nowadays is needed.
Yeah. Now
Houses
it's
aren't $10 anymore, you know?
yeah.
Like back then. It's like before you get a free house, just
You fucking get married and you
You
you,
just get
you
a
stay
free
here.
house back then in the 80s. It's like, hey, you want to buy this house for $10?
Yeah.
Now I was like, no, now you have to pay like like what, half a million just to get a decent home.
Yeah.
So it's like not, and then generation has changed, So I just think maybe they just want to like, hey, I'd rather just have a home.
Yeah. Do you think it's still gonna stay like it's do you feel like it's still gonna be the same in the Hispanic culture? Like you
Well,
having to like
well, we're the next generation of Hispanic culture, right?
yeah.
Like you and I,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and these new
So
millennials and stuff that are coming up that have grown up.
Generation A, you know it's Generation A now? So like your daughter and my son are Generation A.
Eh? Sounds
So
so that sounds interesting. Like, where do they come up with these Generation
they
A?
just go
Just like the letter
A through
A.
Z. Yeah.
Well, they didn't say that for us. Like baby boomers, and
Yeah, we're Generation Y.
we're Generation Y.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And why are we called millennials?
That's is the same thing for Generation X is the boomers.
And what about Generation A? What do they get? What name will they get?
Right now is just Generation A, but Generation Z, which is like
Gen
like
Z.
Gen
Gen
Z,
Z. But
yeah.
they suck so bad that we didn't even want to give them
Yeah.
a nickname. Just kidding. Just
But
kidding.
anyways,
It's like, just kidding.
going back, that's some cool little like facts and stuff like that. But going back, yeah, yeah, like so how are you? Are you gonna be telling your daughter like, hey, just have a small wedding, backyard wedding? All the money that you would have spent,
Well, I think
or you,
I think you gotta have some sort of like, you gotta be realistic. I mean, I don't want to like, you don't want to shoot people's dreams.
mhm,
So obviously, when people would say like, "Hey, do you want to be a lawyer?" Right? You're not gonna be like, realistically, that's not gonna happen, right?
yeah,
But when you're little, you tell, "Oh, I want to play in the NBA." As a parent, you want to teach your kids to be like, "Yeah, you could be the NBA, but it
yeah,
takes dedication. It needs hard work, right?" So you gotta put in the effort. You just can't say, "Oh, I want to be in the NBA," and it happens.
yeah,
Same thing, like if my daughter is growing up when she's 10, 11, 15, says, "Hey, Dad, I really want to have a big, beautiful wedding." I'm like, "Yeah, great, but you're gonna have to work for it.
mm,
You gotta like put in the effort. And in school, whatever you want to do in life, like in reality, like if you're gonna want this, and you're gonna have to put in the effort. It's not just gonna be like, oh, you're gonna be able to spend $50,000. Because the reality of it is, if you don't have $50,000 to spend on a wedding, then as a parent, you should also have that conversation when they're older.
yeah,
Like, hey, I know you wanted this big wedding, but you're older now,
mm-hmm,
and you could realize that maybe you don't want to put yourself in debt fifty
yeah,
thousand dollars. Like, you should think about it. Like, I think you'll be okay if you spend $5,000 on a wedding.
yeah,
And just have your close friends and family. At the end of the day, you're still gonna marry the person you love, right? So I
yeah,
don't, I don't think the price matters, but I think we should still, as me as a parent, I think I want to have those conversations with my kids. Like, if they want to dream big, great, but just be ready to fund those big dreams.
yeah,
Dreams don't just happen just because you dream them. You gotta make those dreams come true.
yeah,
So it just comes with that, man.
yeah.
So
Facts.
I think I want to like implement that on them. Um, and maybe get away from the idea of like, hey, maybe like let's not try to do a quinceañera. Like, maybe they don't need a quinceañera.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could have a big party when they're 15. Like just how we did when she turned 1.
Yeah,
You know, now when she turns 16, we could put that into a car that she needs,
mm,
that she'll need. You
yeah.
know, um, and hopefully like my wife and I could be on the same page on that.
Oh.
Yeah, she'd be like, no.
It's like we're spending all this
It's like,
money.
no, she needs a
Let it,
quinceañera.
yeah. I mean, we can all say all this, and then eventually it's gonna be something
Yeah,
else.
watch me like in
Like in
15, 14 years and be like, you're gonna see me have a $80,000, no, $100,000 quinceañera, because the way inflation's going.
and you're like, oh shit, it's 100,000. It's like fucking the most like like
The
it's
most
like
budgeted quinceañera is 100,000.
so
There's
damn, it's like just
inflation.
just the DJ alone was 10. That's your uncle, bro.
Yeah, tell me
It's
inflation.
like times are hard.
Yeah, dang, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll phase out, man.
Yeah, hopeful. I mean, it's kind of like the same thing, right? Like with what were we having a conversation about? Like the get-togethers, right? Like how we had the conversations, before, with your in-laws, my in-laws. Is the parties eventually is just kind of start separating and doing smaller parties, and eventually it's just up to us if we even want to party together. I hope I hope I get invited, bro.
It's like,
Ugh.
well, you kind of told me you want to be padrino, so
So-
I can't. You kind of not invited to my parties no more.
just go see how the finances are, bro.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think with, like I said, with like we're the next generation, so it's just we're mixed with the American culture.
Yeah,
We're not in that culture of like our parents'
yeah.
culture.
I agree. Um, yeah, bro. I think this is a good way of ending this episode.
No, I still have a lot to say. Just
Oh,
kidding. No,
Um, I
but yeah.
think the kind of leading and have people think about it. Are you really gonna spend this much money on it on a
What I think
party?
is a principle of life,
Yeah,
and don't listen to us. We're not financial experts, and I'm pretty sure we're not the smartest people. So I
yeah,
mean, don't necessarily take our advice for it. But if you want to educate yourself in the sense of like you don't need to spend that money, right? You don't need to spend, and I'm not just talking about parties in general. I'm just talking in everything, right? Just be smart when it comes to big expenses,
yeah,
all that type of stuff. Think it through. I mean, as um, I work in the financial field, so I just think it's important, especially within our culture, um, to look out. And we're usually pretty good. We're usually a frugal
yeah,
people. We don't really like to spend um, money if it doesn't need to be. But that mentality, like I said, changes in certain things, right?
yeah,
So I think after we blow all, we might save all this money, but then we blow it on that one party,
yeah,
So
yeah.
just keep that same mentality and like just try to save your money.
Yeah.
Nowadays in this economy, you never know.
Yep, I agree. All right, everyone. This is Thoughts at Spot,
Episode 2,
episode 2 on
we're
season
gonna
2.
title it "Money Problems."
More money, more
Oh,
problems.
more money, less. Not say problems, because if you listen, take our advice, you wouldn't have any problems.
Yeah,
So it'll be more money. I don't think of I can't find the right words for that.
I
More
mean,
money, no more problems.
no more problems. There we go. So thanks for listening.
That's trademark it, so you can't take it. Just
All
kidding.
right, everyone. This is C Joe and C Los.
We'll
Coming
catch
at you
you
on the next
on the
episode.
next one.